What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Southern Life. On today's video, I'm going to be showing you a needle-infected homeless camp that just happens to be directly in front of an elementary school in Bradenton, Florida. Now, you're in a state that has cleared hundreds and thousands of homeless camps to make way for developers. However, the fact that your children are walking past a needle-infected homeless camp on their way to school, that's not a priority for Florida because nobody's building on this land. But let that sink in, that you live in a state where they'll clear hundreds of homeless camps to make way for developers, but your children are walking past homeless camps that are filled with needles. Let's take a look at this situation here in Bradenton, Florida. And let me tell you, it is completely one of the most appalling things that I've ever seen for a few reasons. For one reason, this is that it's in front of an elementary school. And for two, it's the fact that the state of Florida and these counties and cities and municipalities have gone on a war on homeless camps to make way for developers. Yet, they don't care about a needle-infected homeless camp in front of an elementary school because developers in this state matter more than your children. And on this video, you're going to see undisputable evidence that in the state of Florida, your children matter less than developers. Let's go in there and take a look. And I'm on my way to the beach, actually, so I'm not even wearing my usual homeless camp gear. I feel itchy and probably bed bug and tick bitten. Bro, that has to be the coolest mailbox on earth.
I know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bradenton, Florida. We're right in front of a school. And oh, here's a trail. Let's see what's down this trail. We're right in front of a school. Garbage bags. Oh, it looks like a homeless camp. Smells pretty bad. Oh, it smells horrendous, actually. See, there's a tent right in there. Well hidden. It smells really bad in here. So they've cleared most homeless tents, most homeless camps in this area, but there's still a lot left. Oh, snake. Look at those carrying. Smells really bad in here. So there's just food everywhere. Smells really bad, actually. Smells like horse. Gotta go up underneath this tree that fell during a hurricane. Massive tree. Fell during a hurricane here. And well, this is right in front of a school here in Bradenton, Florida. Can you imagine that? I guess there's going to be more homeless camps back this way. You can tell people just been crawling through here. You got all these trees that fell during a hurricane. And you guys just look underneath here. Oh, crap. Somebody stashed a bike here. Coming through. See, somebody stashed a bike here, so there's going to be somebody back here. Just coming through. Well, at least they have a sink and fire extinguisher and a tarp over here. I'm gonna guess because that bicycle is brand new that there's somebody in here. I'm gonna guess. Oh, it's a whole city back in here. Coming through. My goodness. My goodness, it's a whole city here. Ooh. Crazy. They've got most of them. Now, there used to be hundreds of camps like this all throughout Bradenton. There were hundreds of camps like this all throughout Bradenton, and we're at the point now where there's only like a few left. So this is just one of many camps that are left in Bradenton. It's crazy to think people have to live like this, right? But if somebody were to OD back here, for example, who would see them? You know, there were hundreds of camps like this all throughout the Bradenton area, and they've demolished most of them. So this one is kind of like just a relic. One of the few remaining homeless camps, because the cities came through and they've cleared every single homeless camp. But this one's actually well hidden, so they haven't got to it yet. I mean, I saw the entrance from the main road, It's not perfectly hidden, but I guess there's no heat on this camp right now, so but crazy to think that in the United States of America, across from a school, you have this. You know, this is within a few hundred feet of a school. I mean, literally, I'm not going to say which school it is, but there's a school right there. Obviously, you know, we have containers here that collect water and breeds mosquitoes and stuff like that. And mosquito net, in fact, there were hundreds of improvised camps like this in Bradenton. Hundreds. When I say hundreds, I'm not exaggerating. But so far, there's very few left. Most of them have been demolished. And what's left is really just the ones like this that are smaller. All the larger ones have been destroyed. You can see there's a huge pile of garbage over there. And of course, these sites are protected, so if we run into somebody, there's no telling if they're mentally disabled, addicted, violent. Anything could really happen out here. But this is actually a little bit bigger than I thought it was. And again, the city of Bradenton had hundreds of camps like this. This is just one of the few remaining camps that are left out here. And it's wild to think that this is what empty lots in Bradenton look like. And they've gone through and demolished hundreds of them, but there's still a few left here and there. We are at the point now where they've demolished most of these homeless camps throughout the entirety of the state of Florida. And the ones that are left are very few. But you can see here, this is just chaotic and wild. It smells really, really bad. And sorry if I'm just kind of a little nervous. These places are it never feels comfortable really being through these places. So you're always kind of just on edge. There's so much smells and things to soak in that it's kind of overwhelming at times. And I'm sure there's probably needles everywhere here, despite the fact that it's so close to a school. It's probably needle infested. When you think about that this is the United States of America and these types of scenarios exist here, it's overwhelming. It really is. There's smell of human waste in here. There's smell of just every defiled thing is in here. I mean, it's overwhelming to be in this stuff. I was expecting just a few little tents, but you know, we can see here that we have a huge camp. But there's something different about this camp. If you notice, there's a lot of water bottles. There's a lot of food here. And that makes this camp a little different than others. And while that's better than seeing just needles, it's also kind of scary in that, wow, this is so filthy. It makes it smell that much worse. I mean, the fact that there's just food in here makes it smell that much worse. It really is. And there were camps like this all throughout most of Bradenton. Hundreds, like I said, I'm not exaggerating. Hundreds of camps like this throughout the city of Bradenton. But what is left now is very little. There's ants coming in and out of this cooler. And as we can see, the smell, it's just unbearable. They're using this cooler just to store stuff. This is horrific. I mean, this is bad. Rotting food. Haven't seen any needles yet, but I'm sure if we look carefully, they're probably in here. Although there's a lot of food in this camp, which is a good sign. It means that the people that were here were actually eating and not just consuming. But it's overwhelming that this exists in the United States of America and that this literally exists in front of a school. I mean, literally, you can almost see the school from here. This is literally in front of a school. And again, sorry if I'm a little incoherent with the way I'm talking. It really is overwhelming. I've done probably dozens of these homeless camp videos, and it never ceases to intimidate me and make me feel uncomfortable every time you enter these places, because you just never know what you're gonna find. There's more trails going that way. I'm just gonna stay out of that. And let's roll back through here. So again, I'm just, it's an overload of your senses, from the smells to the different dangers that are out here. But this is really Bradenton, Florida, in front of a school, you know. And despite the fact that they've knocked down hundreds of these camps, not every last one of these camps has been knocked down. There's still a lot of these camps that are present, and I honestly don't know if law enforcement's been here and if they've, I mean, look how nasty this is. There's just food rotting inside these bins. If anything positive can be said about this mess, is that there is food in here. It's lots of food. You can see canned food, canned condensed milk, canned pineapple. So, and there are, we have these stores called GNC here in Florida, and they sell products like, so a lot of times this is all the product of dumpster diving, probably. A nearby business is getting rid of all this stuff, and they're just dragging it in here. The smell of this particular site is probably one of the worst of any homeless camp I've been to, simply because there's so much food out here. Looks like somebody was just laying up in here. There's just a tarp. Lots of wet clothes, possibly needles, I'm not sure. No, there they are right there. There's a pill bottle right there. The typical sign of every homeless camp in Florida: pill bottles. Every single one of these camps. Doesn't fail. Can't see what it's for, but you know, look at this crap, man. Wild. Clearly somebody was dumpster diving, and at least there was food in this camp, and there still is a lot of rotting food in here. Hopefully there's no needles. Here's a tampon. I haven't seen any needles yet, and I'm not dressed up. I'm really not. I'm just heading to the beach. I didn't think I would be running into a site like this on the way to the beach, but you can see in here there's all types of canned foods as well. You can also smell human as well, so there's human waste in here. There's human waste, you can smell it. Lots of food rotting. And well, this just collection of random items will be conclusive of somebody dumpster diving. You know, there's probably a Target or something around here, and they're going in there and pulling everything out. This is what the state of Florida doesn't want you to see. And this is what they don't want you to know, that these places exist. And despite law enforcement's efforts to eradicate these sites, they're still all over the state. And they come in, knock them down. Next thing you know, they put them back up again. And it's a never-ending battle. They go into one site, knock down one camp. Next thing you know, they move over and start another. There aren't too many people here probably right now. I don't know if they're not here at all during the daytime, probably out panhandling, but the smell's bad, and it really is just horrific really. You can see there's a mango tree up there, and the homeless people, they do actually not a lot of times they don't go into, so that's a good bike right there, which makes me think that there is somebody in the area. Gotta crawl up underneath these. Crawl up underneath these trees. It's quite the workout. Wow, look at the size of this tree. It smells so bad in here. And of course, there's a pair of shoes at the entrance, letting you know you do not enter. This is street terminology for stay out. When you see a pair of shoes on a trail, it means do not enter. There's people here. It's like a no trespassing sign of the homeless. I don't know exactly where the makeshift bathroom is, but it is, because you can smell it. It's really that bad of a smell. And I'm gonna guess there might be somebody stashed up here in the front. Hello? Smells like just really bad. But there's more. There's like a little encampment here in the front, and you can see suitcase. Another area people been laying up here in the front. So this is just a single trail that we found here in Bradenton leading into the woods. And this is what it looks inside of it. And despite the efforts from law enforcement, right there at the entrance, guys. There it is right there. There they are. Now, I'm going to show you something. There it is right there. And here I am walking around in sandals and flip-flops. I'm going to keep the camera down because I don't want to blow up their spot in that way of showing exactly where it's at. But you can see there's the needles. And literally, there's a school sign. Now, I've done a lot of these homeless camp videos throughout the entirety of the state of Florida. And let me tell you, not even in Appalachia did I find as many needles as I've found here. Not even in San Francisco did I see as many needles as I've seen here. Not even in Ashland, Kentucky did I find as many needles as you'll find in Bradenton, Florida. It's really bad. And despite the fact that the state of Florida, the county officials have destroyed hundreds of these camps, there's still hundreds more to come. And it's really unfortunate that you have a needle-infested homeless camp literally across from an elementary school. But this is the Florida that they don't want you to see. So they want you to see the Florida on the beach. They want to show you that it's growing and tell you that, oh, Florida and Texas are the fastest growing states. You should move here. You know, everybody's moving to Florida. Everybody's moving to Texas. What they don't show you is how you literally have... You literally have a needle-infested homeless camp 200 feet from a school. You know what? I'm going to make another observation about this site. If it was a builder or developer that wanted to build a community, this thing would be gone in a heartbeat, okay? This homeless camp here, if it was in the way of a development, it would be gone. But the state of Florida has got rid of homeless camps to make developments. But now the homeless people are in front of a elementary school, literally in the parking lot of an elementary school. They care more about a development site getting cleared than they do about a school. You know what? I wasn't going to show you guys where this homeless camp is, but I'm going to show it to you. You know why? Because these children deserve better. These children definitely deserve better than this. Stay on the right lane, and you're going to turn to the right on this little street. There's the entrance to the homeless camp right there. And speeding fines doubled. And there's, just keep driving straight. There's a school right there. Literally, on that lot is the homeless camps. And there is Onico Elementary School. Look at that. An elementary school right next to a homeless camp. But they haven't cleared that homeless camp. You know why? Because there's no developer interest. If there was developer interest, they'd have cleared that homeless camp like they've cleared every other homeless camp in Florida. Guys, that is an absolute embarrassment. And it should just give you an idea, the people that are doing whatever they're doing here in Florida with development, that your children are worth less than a developer. Okay? How do you have a homeless camp full of needles right next to an elementary school? Because the people that live in this community don't matter. The children of the people in this community don't matter. But if they want to put a huge development, say goodbye to the homeless camps because now they're in the way. But why? Because the people in this community don't matter. And why don't they matter? Because they're Hispanic, because they're poor white trash, and because they're black. If it was their rich white community, you can be assured that they wouldn't tolerate a homeless camp next to their nice elementary schools in Lakewood Ranch. But because it's Onico, it's a poor, impoverished area full of poor white trash and Hispanics, they don't give a crap about it. You're telling me that the children in the community that I live in have a homeless camp right next to their elementary school when they're walking home? That doesn't matter. But if it's for a developer, they've cleared every single homeless camp in Bradenton that stood in the way of developers. I'm going to show you guys some screenshots of a few homeless camps that have been cleared in Bradenton And they're gone now because they were in the way of developers. Now you tell me why it was so important to get rid of the homeless camp on Gap Creek, less than a mile away from the school. Guys, it is 98 degrees here in Bradenton, Florida. This is the intersection of Highway 70 and US 41, area notorious for panhandling. They cleared the massive homeless camp on Gap Creek for development, and the homeless people that were in Gap Creek moved to an empty lot in front of an elementary school. Okay, so let me get this straight. You knocked down a homeless camp to build a new development, and the homeless people moved to a poor neighborhood and set up camp in front of an elementary school. But it's a poor elementary school. The children of Onico, they don't matter. If it was Lakewood Ranch, could you imagine the outrage if this homeless camp was in front of Lakewood Ranch? But it's not, because the people of Onico aren't worth as much as the people of Lakewood Ranch. You see panhandlers everywhere. And we've done videos in this neighborhood where the people that live here have told me off camera, they're scared to say it on camera. People that live in this community tell me that when they call the cops don't show up. In fact, there was a murder right here in this trailer park behind this building here. And the locals told me that the body set out for 8 hours before the cops showed up, because if this neighborhood here, if there's any type of police report, the cops simply don't show up. And well, I can't tell you that I have the solution to make this neighborhood a better place. I probably don't. And this guy's got a squatted truck, so he's all right. Look at that Silverado. If that's not the nicest Silverado you've ever seen, move up a little bit, babe. I want to see this guy. So look at that Silverado. Yeah, buddy. He's got a brand new Silverado on. Tell you what, that's a Silverado right there. Unbelievable. They literally just got, the guy just literally got into the driver's seat with a beer in his hand. Unbelievable. The driver, I just missed it off camera. There he's got beer too. Look, they're drinking and driving. Yeah. Unbelievable, bro. Dude, that's wild. They literally just got in a car with beers while driving. Unbelievable. And not only do they not give a crap about your kids, they also don't give a crap about the environment. Recently in Manatee County, they just approved that they're no longer going to be having any type of barrier of mangroves for development. They're going to push it back 50 feet so that they can build more houses next to the water without having a barrier for mangroves. But what's interesting about that is that, for the most part, this area doesn't have a lot of protection, and if a hurricane actually came through here, most of these houses would be absolutely annihilated because there are no mangroves to protect the homes from a storm surge. That's why in North Naples they had storm surge flooding, but that didn't have they didn't have the houses wash away like in Fort Myers Beach where there was no mangroves. Yeah, I got this thing. Let me tell you, the day that there's a storm surge here in Bradenton, Florida, and they don't have any mangroves to protect these houses, this is going to be, you know, Hurricane Ian Part 2. So as we can see, there's very negligent, reckless behavior taking place right now here in Bradenton, Florida. You can see over there, there's mobile homes right on the edge of the water. Of course, that was done many, many years ago. But this reckless behavior and just negligent situation here, one day is going to have a consequence, you know. Most cities and most planning committees are going to do the best they can to ensure the safety of the public, but the only thing that's being ensured here is, you know, the interests of developers.